Hi, my name is Ashley Rice and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to be reviewing another Vegan Cuts snack box subscription item, and that is called the Neat Egg. This is an egg substitute, which is awesome since I've been trying to go from vegetarian to vegan. I've been looking for these. It's awesome to be able to try this out today on 4 different items that me and my husband make either for the holidays or we make pretty regularly. So first off, I just kind of want to talk about this product a little bit. It's very easy to mix together. You basically do 2 tablespoons of water, 1 tablespoon of this egg, and that equals, or this egg mix, and that equals an egg. So it's pretty cool. I do want to say that while I was mixing it together, it made it kind of goopy, which was a little weird for me. And then when I mixed it in with some other stuff, it also made that goopy. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. So I didn't really like that. I really don't want something that's gonna make my food goopy and anything else. And a lot of these turned out texture-wise very different than they usually do with eggs. But I mean, if they taste good, that's really what I care about. So we'll be taste testing 4 different things that I've made, and I'm very excited. Oh, and my husband said that it kind of smells like grass. He also did mention that when you finally made it into the end product, you didn't smell the grassy egg mix. So I want to introduce you first to something called a molasses cookie. Now this is something that my dad gets every year for his birthday. So every year my aunt will make this for him, and I love them. I would secretly sneak about like 20 or 30 of them every year for his birthday, which he knew. So eventually I got this recipe so I can make it for myself. Now, this recipe also needed butter, so instead I used Crisco. I kind of did that for all of these. These all needed a little bit of butter, so for all of them I used Crisco. I'll put the recipe for this in the description below, just in case you want to make it. And this is just store-bought frosting. I didn't have time to make regular frosting, unfortunately. But alrighty, let's taste test this guy. Now this is the only one that it mixed really well into. The other ones I had a hard time mixing it into. This one, it went pretty smooth. Like it mixed into the whole entire batch. So all I had to do was put it in the fridge so it could get cold and then put it into little balls to make the cookies. All the other ones I had to try really hard to mix this into because it kind of wants to stick to itself. Like think of that like gooey, kind of like that slime putty. It's not completely like that, but it is edging on the sort of slime putty vibe. And so it makes kind of everything else like that, but for this one, it didn't. So this is the only thing that it kind of looked like the normal process when I was making it. And it definitely hasn't changed the taste in any way. It definitely is softer in the middle than when I usually make them. But overall, like I would gladly use it for this. So for this product, I would give it a 10 out of 10. It did what it did. It worked out nicely. It didn't look gross throughout the process, only when I initially made it. But overall, very delicious. Now I'm gonna finish this. Alrighty, the next thing I want to do is my little mice cookies. Now we make this every year for Christmas, me and my mom. And so I got the recipe from her, and it didn't work really well for this. It was too dry, the whole entire thing, and I promise you, I checked the recipe about 20 times to make sure I didn't mess up something, and I didn't. So it just ended up extremely dry. Like normally these aren't very moist cookies, but it was just, I couldn't even get his little ears to stay on him. He just looks so sad with no little ears. Side note, I also used the chocolate chips that we also got in the Vegan Cuts box. So those are in here too. But yeah, his little ears wouldn't stay on when I was cooking them, so unfortunately he has no ears. But this was just a fun thing we always made with my mom when we were kids because it's very simple for kids to make, and you get to use some licorice right here, some Twizzler, and then you put on little eyes, which are chocolate chips. But let's see how it tastes. I don't like this. Good thing I have water. It's very powdery. Normally it's not like that. Oh my gosh, I'm eating a mouse. Ah! No, I don't like it with this at all. It needs something to give it something so it's not dry. Because this one, it feels like I'm eating the flour almost. Okay, for this, oh, this is, I don't want to be this mean. For this one, I would give it a 1 out of 10. I don't think it worked well with this. It didn't necessarily change the taste. It just doesn't work for forming the cookie. I actually didn't even use the whole entire batch because I couldn't get it to form into a ball after a while. Like some of it worked out fine, which was the one that I grabbed. And then the other ones, I just couldn't get them to form into any ball. So I left it in its little powdery mixture. It doesn't work well with my little mice cookies, unfortunately. Oh, so sad. I'll leave the recipe below just in case you want to try and tell me what you think. Maybe it's the fact that I used the Crisco that I could have added to it as well, because I did. It called for butter and Crisco, but I just used Crisco for both of that. So maybe that's why they're also dry. So if you want to try making this and let me know if it worked well for you, please do. All right, so I'm going to move on to something that I actually learned about this year. We ate some Thanksgiving meal with my mother and father-in-law this year, and they introduced me to this really good mustard mix. And normally you put it on ham. Well, you can put it on any meat, but usually they recommend to put it on ham. So for me, we just put it on this like cool cauliflower mix that they made for me. But I wanted to try making it vegan because it does have eggs in it. That's the one thing. I want to tell you now already, it didn't work really nicely. Yeah. It's really clumpy. I don't know if you can see it from here. And it's not supposed to be, guys. It's not supposed to be clumpy. So I'm really hesitant to try this because I feel like the slimy egg mixture didn't mix in at all, which I also had to bake it on the stove, which I thought might help, and it didn't. I guess we'll try this. Ooh, I'm already not wanting to eat this. Okay, let's go where it's not as gross. Oh. No. No, no. Oh gosh. 100%. Don't do that. Don't make that with this. Mm-mm. Oh, that was rancid. That was really gross. Oh. And I wonder if part just because it couldn't mix together fully. Like, it was still pretty much like this was still in big chunks of itself, and I tried like smashing it like to bits so it wouldn't be stuck together, and just nothing seemed to be working to separate it from itself. Even when it was boiling, it still clung to itself. So I would definitely not recommend that. If you know an egg substitute that would work really well for this sauce recipe, please let me know below, because I really want to be able to make it vegan, but it is not going to work with it. This product itself, it's not going to work with it. For this, I would give it -5 out of 10. Oh, that's so mean. It wholeheartedly does not work. It wants to stick to itself way too much. So it can't blend. And I mean, it might be worth trying it in an actual blender. Maybe it might work better then. We could try that. If you try that and that works, please let me know below, but it did not work with this. Last thing, we call these Puffy Pancakes, but this looks very, very different. This is a bunch of powdered sugar, by the way. Normally the walls of the pancake are coming up. There's usually some like parts of them have been puffed compared to others. This very much stayed in its form. I also had to kind of form it in the cast iron pan, because the whole point of this recipe is you cook it on the stove for a minute and then you put it in the oven for 10. And normally when you pour the ingredients on there, it just kind of smooths itself out so it covers the whole entire floor of the cast iron. This didn't, and so I had to move it around so that it could, you know, look like it does now rather than just this clump. So it worked very differently for this. It also just didn't rise, and it seems like it only really browned the bottom. Now, how we eat this is usually we put powdered sugar in it, we put some lemon juice on it, and then we eat it with some berries. And this is kind of like a little brunch item for me and my husband, so we make this probably the most frequently. I can't open this. So we make this pretty frequently, so I want to be able to make this vegan because I want to be able to keep eating it. So I guess what really matters for me is, does it taste good? Yeah, so like even now I'm putting the lemon juice on here. Normally it just sucks right into it. It's like just sitting on the top of it. Okay. Oh my. Gotta muscle my way into it. Oh goodness. Okay. Yeah, this looks nothing like what it should. Ooh. Okay, here we go. It's not bad. It's just not the same. So I made this one a little differently. Instead of mixing the egg mixture first, I just threw it in with everything. And I think it mixed better that way, but it definitely didn't rise. So I don't know. I highly doubt that's the reason, because it did make this mixture for the puffy pancakes fairly like that slimy goo almost, except not slimy, but just the way that it moves. It reminds me of that, because it all kind of clumps together and wants to stay together. It made something that I can eat. I mean, it's not bad. I would eat this. And I will. I'll finish it. But if I had to give this a rating with my puffy pancakes, ooh, I almost made it drop. I give it a 5.5. Like, it works. It made a product, just not the same product that I was hoping to get. My overall thoughts of this is I probably wouldn't use it again. I don't like that it makes everything goopy. It's not going to work with most of the stuff that me and my husband make, because we don't make a lot of things with eggs. We just don't. Now, granted, maybe it's because I used Crisco. Have you tried the neat egg without Crisco, and did it work really nicely? Do you use a different butter substitute? Let me know, because this just didn't seem to work with everything, but let me know if it's because I added the Crisco instead. I think I would give it a 3 out of 10. It just didn't work the way that I wanted it to. I really don't want to deal with everything getting goopy. It really changes the texture of everything. It really does. The only thing it worked really nicely in was the molasses cookie. So maybe it's really, really good for cookies. And like, I did use the Crisco in all of the recipes here today, and so it seemed to work in that one just fine. And this one, I only used a tablespoon of Crisco, so that shouldn't have affected it too much. I think the reason this one looks so different and tastes a little bit different is because it wasn't allowed to rise because it got so goopy. I'm overall not a huge fan of the neat egg, which is really sad. I was very excited for this, but I do think I would want to use different egg substitutes for these guys here. And I hope to do a video sometime in the future trying out a bunch of different egg substitutes. So if you know one, please comment below with that so I can get it and hopefully make a video for you guys and have some of my meat-eating friends come over and try it. So I'm back. After trying out the neat egg in recipes that I normally try, I realized they had some on the internet that were specifically designed for the neat egg, so I thought it'd be wrong if I didn't try one of their recipes. So I made some pancakes. I'll leave the recipe that I used below. And overall, it was a lot easier to make. There are still some things that I wasn't really a big fan of while using the neat egg to make them. The pancakes are a lot stiffer than usual, but that's because they were a lot thicker. I thought it was interesting they added baking soda and baking powder to it to help it rise a little bit more. I think that was a smart choice. One of the things that I didn't really like is everything stuck to everything. Once you added all the dry and wet ingredients together, like trying to put it in the pan, it just stayed in this like mountain and it wouldn't like flatten out like a normal pancake would. So you'd have to take your spatula and kind of flatten it out, but then all of that stuck to the spatula. So not only do you have to spray the pan, but you also have to spray your spatula, which I've never had to do. Like, it's not like a terrible inconvenience. If that was my only other option, like I wouldn't, you know, not eat it because of that. I'm really excited because I actually did kind of get a whiff of it, and so I could smell the cinnamon that's in it. And so I'm a little excited because they smelled kind of yummy. Moment of truth. Here we go. Okay. They're all right. Let me see if my second one turned out better. My second one did turn out better, which I think is always the case. Does anyone have like a perfect pancake when they do the first one? Because I don't think I've ever experienced that in life. I feel like my first one always sucks. I would eat this. I think that's the only way I really can rate this, because you know, you have pancakes and really it comes down to the recipe, like what they have you put in. But I think the egg worked in it. I would say it just makes things stickier than usual. So that's something to keep an eye out for. It's hard to explain, but it has like a different texture to the pancake as well, since it's so much, it's thick. Now I'm sure if I practice this for a really long time, I can make thinner pancakes. When I looked up recipes to use the neat egg in, everything was so elaborate. And it felt like I would have to use it for special dinners, because me and my husband just aren't in a time in our life where we can sit down and make like really elaborate meals unless it's like a special date night or anything like that. So we're not gonna sit down and do something that takes forever. So this was like literally the simplest recipe I could find. Now, did I look for hours? No. I bet there are other people who have done like a lazy version of using the neat egg. I was very excited for the neat egg, and I feel like I built it up to be too much. I think I was just really excited to try my first egg substitute, because as I've done more research since filming the first part of this video, because clearly this is a new day, I have discovered that there's actually like so many different meat or different egg substitutes that are used for various different things. Now I would love to find an egg substitute that I could use for everything, but I do plan on doing more egg substitute videos. I want to try out a few other ones that I have heard big names of, and then there's also something that I recently found out where you can use standard foods as egg substitutes. So I plan to do a whole video on that and invite some of my friends to come and join. Those are all my thoughts. Let me know what you think below. Do you actually really enjoy the neat egg? Am I just using it wrong? Do I need more experience with it? Because I'd gladly do a take two. If you have any amazing recipes, or if you want to just give me advice of how I did it wrong, that's totally fine. Other than that, please like this video, please subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell to get notifications every time I upload a video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!